like 672% net return. Phew, I would have loved that. Welcome to my YouTube channel, or welcome back if you just happen to be a lucky viewer and saw the first video that I posted. Today, we are going to be asking ChatGPT, how well does it know the market? Can it generate a profitable strategy? Let's head over to my computer and discuss what we're considering a profitable strategy. Okay, really imperative before we ask ChatGPT any type of questions or we get into backtesting, we need to consider to ourselves what we're saying is a profitable trading strategy. First things first, any trading strategy trade has to have a positive net return, right? So that means after we pay fees and spread, everything has been taken into consideration, we still want to make money. Next is a respectable risk to reward ratio. I'm not trying to trade anything where I'm risking $100 just to make $5. I think that's really silly, and we don't want to do that. We're going to trash that strategy immediately if it does that. Next is a tolerable max drawdown. For me, that amount is usually 20 to 30%. I do not go beyond that because it's hard in real time to watch your account go below that. You're going to want to exit the trading strategy, even though you know in the long run eventually it'll perform well. Being in drawdowns are simply just not fun. Don't do it. Let's get into our conversation with ChatGPT and see what she tells us. Can you generate a profitable trading strategy? Well, before I do that, let's turn on the thinking model. Maybe she'll generate something better if we do that. So let's see. Extended thinking. We're waiting. Okay, this was pretty quick and straightforward. Hopefully, it'll be good. Chat gave us our rules. I went and put them in a slide just to beautify things up a bit and explain to you what we're going to do. So she generated a simple RSI EMA strategy. Whenever we cross over the middle band of the RSI, which is usually 50, we're going to enter in a trade long if we are above the EMA. If we are below the EMA and we get a cross under, we're going to go short. Very easy. These two conditions are just the inverse of each other. Next, the indicator value she provided for the RSI, we will do a length of 21. The oversold, overbought is just simply going to be the middle band, so 50. And the EMA length, 100. That'll give us a nice little filter whether or not we should go long or short. The stop loss strategy / take profit strategy that she generated was just to simply use the ATR bands with a length of 10 and a factor of 1.5. So our stop loss is going to be placed at the previous value of the ATR band, and our take profit is going to be 2 times that stop loss value. Let's look at an example of what ChatGPT is expecting us to do. Here I found a pretty good example of a long trade. As you can see, the RSI 21, using the closing source, we got a crossover, right? So we got the crossover here, and we were also above the 100 length moving average. So this means at the next candle, once this signal is solidified, that's really important, we want to enter in the trade. So we would have taken a long position. We would have put our stop loss at the previous ATR value, which looks to be here. So I'll move it to there. And of course, the take profit would have been twice that amount. So this looks roughly twice. This is a pretty quick trade too, which is good because we don't have to sit at the computer all day if that's the case. So this is a long example. We're not going to look at the short because it's essentially going to be the same thing, different direction. Okay, so now that we've seen what an entry would possibly look like, let's look at the time frame. ChatGPT said use the 30-minute time frame. If this time frame doesn't work, of course, we can always test with something else, but we'll start with this. Next are the markets. These markets were chosen by me. The reason I chose these is because they're all different in some sort of way. So for the Aussie dollar versus the USD, this market in particular is very choppy yet volatile. So this should generate a bunch of trades for us. Next, I chose the euro versus USD. This is a pretty solid neutral market. So it consolidates a bit, but it also trends. So this will probably give us different results from the Aussie dollar. Lastly, we have the Swiss versus the Japanese yen. I think that's what that pair is. Nonetheless, this is a really trendy market. So from 2022 to 2026, I noticed that it trended upward. So I think that'll be really good proof of whether or not this strategy works on different types, because we have our trendy, consolidating, and our neutral markets. Okay, so I think this is all we need to discuss as far as the setup. Let's get into the good stuff, which is the actual back testing of the strategy. So here are the results of the strategy using the Aussie versus US. As you can see, at one point, it does look like this strategy attempted to do well from here to here, but we started off tanking and then we eventually tanked again. So the equity curve alone is not looking good. Let's just take a quick look at some of the performance metrics that we have here. So a gross profit of $1,400. I mean, that sucks. That's really bad, especially given the time span that we provided. But the net profit, we are negative because of all the fees we had to pay just to enter and exit so much. Like, look at all these trades that we took. That's too many for my liking. The win rate, loss rate, I guess that's kind of expected, honestly. Here are some other metrics that we can just take a look at here. Not looking too good. Let's just look at some trades that we took and look at some points at which we can improve the strategy in. One thing I am already noticing is that I think the EMA length perhaps may a bit too long. I think if we shorten it, here we could have gotten in a long trade instead of trying to take a short. Let's look at our indicator value. Wow. Okay, so here clearly the RSI was whipsawing a lot, which caused us to enter and exit a bunch of trades. Okay, yeah, something else we could do is also change the length of the RSI to something larger. That way we don't enter into so many trades. So let's go ahead and apply those two improvements and see how we could potentially make the strategy better. Okay, so we are already looking better, just changing the EMA value and also changing our RSI to use a length of 35 instead. Yeah, so last time, remember, we took that short trade there. It looks like we didn't take it that time, so that's a plus. That actually worked for that reason. Just looking at the equity curve, we can still see that the strategy still isn't performing really well for a large portion of time. We were just consolidating as far as the profits, and then we spiked up. I don't know what happened there, but still, it's still not good. At least we have positive net profit. I still wouldn't trade this like this because of the drawdown as well, 53 to 86. No way. Still took a lot of trades. Let's just look at some trades that we took and see where we can improve again. Okay, still a bunch of losses back to back. Ugh. All right. If you notice, like some of these trades where we went up, but we went back down and we hit stop loss, I'm thinking in some of these cases we can implement a stepping stop loss. So when we reach a certain percent of the take profit, what we're going to do is we're going to move our stop loss. I'm not sure what the values are just yet. I'll share them in the end, but I think that's something we should implement to see if it helps us out here. So, I mean, we're done looking at the trades here. Let's get to applying more improvements. Wow, this is really impressive so far. Hopefully it doesn't go down, fingers crossed. Okay, I think we're done. We still took a crap ton of trades, it looks like, but at least the equity curve looks good. It looks tradable, honestly. Let's go ahead and look at some metrics. Okay, percent return, 245%. That's pretty good for this time span, I mean. So the drawdown, wow. So the drawdown to percent return ratio is good. That's exactly what we're looking for. Let's look at the trades. So the total trades, 4,000. Personally, that's too many for my liking. I wouldn't like to trade this much. I wouldn't want to be sitting at a desk all day entering and exiting these trades. Not that I would be doing that anyway, because I am an algorithmic programmer again. Um, let's continue to look. So average winners to average losers. Okay. And the max consecutive losses there is pretty huge. So if you were to trade something like this, just make sure you're trading with a smaller account size per trade. Otherwise, you may blow your account. We don't want that to happen. All right, so let's see. Catching some winners. We're still gonna have a bunch of these losing trades because of the RSI. That's just the nature of the strategy, I realize. So we're just gonna ignore that for now, because I mean we could sit at this desk all day and optimize, but we don't have all day. We have to move on. I honestly think this is good enough for what we're doing. This I think I would trade this. Okay, so we have the same strategy with those initial values. The only difference is that we're trying this on euro versus the US dollar. Here's what we have. Again, the strategy did not perform well right off the bat. ChatGPT got my eyes on you. Yeah, same stuff where we have a bunch of whipsawing going on with the RSI, causing us to enter a bunch of trades. Negative gross and negative net, not a good sign at all. Spread fees are pretty high because, again, we're entering a bunch of trades. Here are some more of the other metrics, just in case you are interested in seeing those. I think the same improvements can be applied maybe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the winning settings from the Aussie versus the USD strategy and apply them here. So we're just going to change up some indicator values, and we're also going to start moving the stop loss. And again, at the end, I will discuss more of those stop loss values. That way you know how to adjust the stop loss accordingly to the take profit. Okay, so this is the same pair. We're using the winning settings from the Aussie versus the USD. As you can see from the equity curve alone, we did not perform well like we did last time. The drawdown is huge, 177%. I mean, negative net profit. There's not much really to say here besides we cannot trade this. Just look at the number of trades that we took, which is also, again, not good. Same problem, the whipsawing. I think what needs to happen is just we need to get some brand new settings for this pair. So that's what I'll do. I won't let you sit here and watch me do that. I'll just figure that out and get right back with you. Okay, so actually I didn't tweak any parameters. I don't know if you noticed, but last run of the strategy we had on long and short, and it appears that the long side actually performed pretty decently. So this is what the strategy looks like long only. These are the same settings from the Aussie USD pair that won for us. And it's looking better already, the equity curve. This looks like something we can work with. Still not that great. 115% return, 37% drawdown. Honestly, not bad, but I think we can do better. So that's what we'll do. We definitely have a lower amount of total trades taken. Great. Yeah, so here are the metrics just in case you are interested. I'm going to go and try to find us some new settings. That way we can see if we can make more profit using this strategy. All right, so I'm back. And I actually changed up some things quite a bit. I got rid of our stop loss that we were using. So the ATR bands, that's no longer in the picture. And I figured let's try the super trend. And the super trend gave us better results. As you can see, we are 273% net return. That looks that's good to me. The drawdown is really low. We're still long only, 30% drawdown. Come on, that's pretty good. I would trade something like this. And not more importantly, but equally importantly, our total trade count has reduced to 664. Here are the other metrics just in case you are interested. As you can see, the winners here are really long because we're using the super trend as the take profit / stop loss. Not too many consecutive losses, which I think is phenomenal. Let's just take a look at some of the trades that we're taking using this strategy. That way you can have an idea of what you'll be doing here. So here was an entry. We got out there. Yeah, a lot of good winners that ran on really long. I really do like that. Still a bunch of losers, but it's fine because our winners are super huge. All right, that's all for now. We'll move on to our next pair because I think this is it. I mean, of course, we can sit here and tweak settings all day. Okay, so this is our next pair, which is the Swiss francs versus the yen. Here we are using the default settings that chat gave us. So that's the 21 RSI with the 50 middle band here. Again, we're off to a bad footing. Negative 91% return, huge drawdown, kind of expected at this point because that's what we saw with the last two pairs with those initial settings. Not too many trades though, which is always good. I think I've said that like a million times now. That needs to be reiterated over and over again. But here are the other metrics just in case you're interested. Quite frankly, I'm not because the equity curve looks bad. What I'm going to do is take the winning settings from the last strategy and apply it here and see if they still work, you know? Maybe there's not much work we need to do here. Okay, so this is the same strategy from last time that won for us on the Euro versus USD. We got the super trend going on here, but looking at the equity curve, again, we can just tell that this strategy needs to be tweaked. I mean, it may not be bad. We may just need to change some things. And like last time, the long side seemed to do pretty good. I mean, to be honest, that kind of makes sense given this pair is trending to the upside currently and has been trending to the upside for a while. That makes sense. So if we look at our percent return, it's negative. It's negative. The drawdown, of course. Wow, 100% drawdown. Not good at all. Here are the other metrics just in case you were interested. A lot of consecutive losses again. Just don't trade this with a high percentage of your account and you'll be good. Well, you shouldn't trade this one anyway because clearly it's not good. What I'm going to do is go back and just do some tweaking and try to find some good settings for this pair. Be right back. Okay, so what we have here are brand new settings entirely. Okay, so on the long side, it did pretty well. So we'll probably do this strategy again, but just only do the long trades because it's not looking terrible. 300% return, 37% drawdown. Yeah, no need to look this further. I'm just gonna go and turn off the short settings and see what happens. Wow, this is looking good. Okay, oh, that's everything. So this is the same strategy before I turned off the short side, so we only got long trades here. And as you can see, because we turned off the short, we were able to get in more long positions, which is a plus for us. So one thing I want to mention is that I changed the settings entirely from what chat gave us. Here you can see we have an EMA of 9 and we have an RSI of 7, which is a really small length. So I'm surprised not many more trades were taken. And I changed the overbought and oversold to 60 and 40. So we go long when we cross above the oversold and we go short whenever we cross under the oversold. That's what's happening here. And let's just take a look at some of the trades. This was a nice winner. Oh, also I forgot to mention, we're using the ATR stop loss, but I changed up some of the values a bit. We're still using the ATR length of 10 and the factors 2 and I multiplied the take profit by 6. So now our trades are 6 times as much as our losses, thus resulting in such a high percent return, like 672% return is crazy, especially for the time span that we provided, which was 2022, I believe, to the end of 2025. This is really, really impressive. Okay. The profit factor looks good. Everything on this strategy looks good, and it's meeting our criteria of a high percent return compared to drawdown, just 28%, guys. Like, imagine if you would have actually been trading this strategy during this time. You'd have been rich. And 469 trades. Great, phenomenal. Our average winner to our loser, again, is going to be fairly high compared to the loser, given the nature of our stop loss and take profit. Let's just take a look at some trades to see what's going on. That way you can get an idea of what's happening. Again, a bunch of losers, but who cares? We're making money, obviously. Yeah. So this is what we're looking like. I really do like these settings. I think this is all for us. Like, just look at this equity curve. It is marvelous. Wow. You made a crap ton of money had you been trading this. Okay, welcome back. We are here with the slides again. I wanted to discuss the final verdict. So, the winning strategy that we chose, just look at some of the values on it. So, here are the values for the indicator and take profit and stop loss, just in case you wanted to go ahead and start trading this strategy. And I also mentioned that we were going to use a moving stop loss target. So, here are the values that I went with. So, when we were 25% of our take profit value, what I did was I moved the stop loss up halfway. I didn't break even just yet. So just 50% of that initial value was all that was. Eventually, once the take profit reached the 75% mark, I moved the stop loss to break even because we don't want to lose money if we can avoid it. So that was the point of that. And as you can see, it worked in our favor. All right, so the $1,000,000 question, is this variation of the strategy worth trading? I mean, we saw the results. To be honest, it is all up to you. I personally wouldn't trade it. It's just way too many trades taken for me. I don't have all day to be sitting at a computer trying to figure this stuff out. I'd rather do something else. So I wouldn't trade this. Again, we got a good net return. The drawdown, the max drawdown is within our threshold that we set out in the beginning. And 22 consecutive losses. I mean, a strategy like this with a low win rate is always going to have a bunch of consecutive losses. They're small anyway, but still, I mean, if you don't mind that, go for it. Just make sure you aren't trading a huge portion of your account. Otherwise, you may blow it, So just be careful. Lastly, I wanted to mention that this variation of the strategy did outperform the S&P 500. So with your 245% return compared to the 180, I mean, that's pretty great. You always want to go for a strategy that's outperforming the S&P 500. Otherwise, it's not worth trading. You might as well just drop your money in a bucket and continue on about your day. No reason to sit at a desk. Okay, let's just take a look at this marvelous equity curve. Again, a crap ton of trades, and you consistently went up there. That's the most important part. I mean, if you traded this, I wouldn't be mad at you. This is a really good strategy. Now on to the verdict for our euro versus the American dollar here. Kind of the same strategy, not really. We ended up adding the super trend and using the super trend as a take profit and a stop loss. It really doesn't matter as long as we found something that worked in our favor, but we're gonna have to scold chat later for giving us this terrible strategy. Kinda. Okay, so was this variation of the trading strategy worth trading? 664 trades taken from 2015 to 2026. I like that personally. Less fees, the percent net return was better, which is great. 30% max drawdown again is right in that sweet spot range, right at the end. I cannot fathom being in the drawdown 60%, so this is good for me. 12 consecutive losses. Not much to say there. I think this is a decent amount, I guess. Wanted to mention that we outperformed the S&P 500 by a good amount. Good enough amount, at least. Let's move on and discuss the equity curve here. So this is what we're looking like. Of course, we had our lows here, some drawdowns that we can see. But I mean, long term, we still did pretty good. Is this worth trading? Yeah, I'll trade it. I would trade it. Finally, let's talk about our best performing pair so far. So that was the Swiss franc versus the yen. We did really well. However, we did have to change up the values a lot from what chat gave us. So we did the RSI with a length of 70. We changed the oversold and overbought values. And we also made the EMA really small. We narrowed it down to a length of 9. Our take profit and our stop loss was also altered because of this market was trending really well, we could do such a huge take profit. So our ATR bands was just had a factor of 2, and we multiplied that by 6. So 6 times the win. That is crazy, guys. That's really good. Again, we applied the moving stop loss logic. I won't explain it again. Let's move on. Was it worth trading? Heck yeah. Like, this strategy was super good. Like 2022 all the way to 2026, that's just a simple 3 years for the amount of money we made. Phenomenal. And we had fees on, so I would definitely trade this. I actually may start trading it. I'm gonna do probably a bit more back testing on this one to see how well it performed throughout the entire span, but just trading it now is definitely worth it. 429 trades taken. Amazing. I love that. I don't have to be at a computer all day. Not that I would be anyway, because I'm a programmatic trader. Again, like 672% net return. Phew. I would have loved that. Drawdown, max drawdown, 28%. Like, come on. You can't beat that. Imagine making 672% return, only risking like 28% of your balance. Like, that's insane. 23 consecutive losses. And we outperformed the S&P 500, which would have given us 15% during 2022 to 2026. Like, come on. You got to trade the strategy. This is crazy good. Look at the equity curve. It looks really, really well. You can tell that we implemented the moving stop loss logic here just by how the equity curve looks. And we consistently went up, so we would have saw the account just making so much money over time, and that would have been really encouraging. I would definitely look into trading this strategy if you're not already doing it. This is really good. So that concludes the video. As you can see, the strategy that we got from Chat, even though it wasn't really good with the settings that she gave us, we were able to change up some things and get some good results. If you liked the video, actually hit the like button, please. I would appreciate that. If you have any questions about any variation that we tested, you want me to test another strategy that you have in mind, just leave a comment. I'm always here and I'm always listening. And of course, if you enjoy my content, I would appreciate a subscribe. I'm fairly new here. Help a girl out, help a channel out. Thank you again. Good luck trading.